Hopefully better though, Scott. Hopefully better. It looks like we're live, but you know how we do. We got to let it breathe just for a moment or two in order to get the entirety of our flock, our orange and blue flock, in this. I'm going to become a poet, dude. Church of Broncos. How's that? Church of Broncos. Whatever it is. This is the Huddle Up Podcast, presented, as always, by Mile High Huddle and powered by Blue Wire Podcasts. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman, who has been chomping at the bit
Yes.
to talk about the great developments in Broncos country. Zack, it's crazy because George Payton sort of made you and I look a fool because we're like, nah, Russell Wilson, no way that the Seattle Seahawks are that dumb to give up one in the hand for the proverbial two in the bush. But they did. And Russ wants to play another 10 years. He's a Denver Bronco. What was your gut reaction? We'll kind of sift through this.
Well, Peyton made me look especially dumb because, of course, the Russell Wilson trade, I have so much I want to say about it, but I'm going to start off by saying it came out, Chad, literally minutes after A-Rod spurred the Broncos to go back to Green Bay. So I was like, you know what? I put this on Twitter. Russell Wilson isn't getting traded. So what is plan C for the Broncos? Miss me on the Wentzes and the Garoppolos, et cetera, the Minshews. Maybe time to run it back with Locke and draft a rookie. Literally minutes after I said that, I saw Adam Schefter tweet, the Broncos and the Seahawks are on the verge of a blockbuster deal for Russell Wilson. I had to check to make sure the little check mark was there. I literally thought it was like a darn Schefter, the troll parody accounts. I couldn't believe it. I literally still can't believe more than 24 hours later, the Broncos starting quarterback is Russell Wilson. And personally, Chad, I've been on this beat since 2016, August of that year. I just missed Peyton Manning. I literally have not covered a playoff game. I have seen one winning season. I have suffered through and been tortured by the likes of Simeon and Paxton Lynch and Joe Flacco and Case Keenum and Teddy Bridgewater. And to now know I am off that carousel, to now know I am off that roller coaster. And for the first time since 2016, going back to even 2015, I get to watch the Broncos with a legitimate quarterback. I get to watch the Broncos as a legitimate Super Bowl contender because that is what they are now. They were a quarterback away from competing. They got that quarterback, and it's Russell freaking Wilson. Wow.
It makes you want to shout hallelujah because the presence of Russell Wilson in Denver, I mean, you guys don't need your football priest to tell you this. You know this. It changes absolutely everything for the Broncos. It is so exciting. It's putting this team back in the driver's seat of being a force to be reckoned with. Now, look, the AFC West, it's a tough division, but Russell Wilson is no stranger to vying in a tough division. I mean, the NFC West has had its ebbs and flows, but for the majority of his career as a starting quarterback in the league, Zach, he's battled some pretty tough divisional opponents. I'm not too worried about that because as important as divisional games are, you got to get that Kansas City Chiefs monkey off your back here eventually, Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. But as crucial as they can be, division games, what to me people miss out on, oh man, but are we going to beat the Chiefs? Oh man, but are we going to beat the Chiefs? You can go, Zach, and this isn't me trying to throw a wet blanket on anybody. You can go 0-2 against the Chiefs in 2022, but if you only lost 3 other games beside that on your schedule, you're probably still winning the AFC West. So that's something that Russell Wilson gives you not just a fighting chance. Like the Broncos are a force to be reckoned with now. And you know what? They gave up a king's ransom. And of course they did. It's Russell Wilson still in his prime. Might be on the kind of pushing the envelope, Zach, of the tail end of his prime, but it's still Russell Wilson in his prime. He wants to play into his 40s. Man, I mean, it can make you giddy. Like I had family. Those of you who follow on Twitter know this. I had family. I mean, we couldn't have anticipated. It's not like Zach, we circled yesterday as like, oh, it's the new league year opening. Let's make sure we have our schedules clear.
We should have.
That's what we would
We
do.
weren't podcasting, so.
But we got a kind of unofficial deadline leaked to us over the weekend involving the Green Bay Packers and Devontae Adams franchise tag on the A-Rod topic. So I had family in town pre-planned for about 6 weeks, and I'm juggling that and trying to, do the MHH thing. It's probably a good thing that we weren't on last night because it would have been really tough for me. But nevertheless, Russell Wilson, Zach, changes everything. The Duchess Michaela Parker in the house. And by the way, we have tonight with us Albert Noppers for yet another Super Chat Superstar segment. We can't wait to talk to Albert here in just a few minutes. But first, let's grab the Duchess Michaela with a very, very generous super chat. We love you. We appreciate you. And we're happy for you. We're so stoked for each and every one of you. Michaela says, my reaction was ... I let out a big woohoo and started dancing at work. Good to see you, Chad and Zach. Hello, Bronco fan. The QB desert is over. Yes, indeed. It feels good, right? The clouds parted, or I don't know. You came out of the tent in the desert and you look down and there's manna in the form of little Russell Wilson heads on the ground. And you're going, whoa, we can put food in our bellies and make it to the promised land. This is awesome.
You know, like those old cartoons where they're stuck in a desert and they see a mirage and it's like a soda machine or a water fountain. It turns out to be nothing. Well, this wasn't a mirage. The Broncos wandered that desert for more than a half decade and came away with not a veteran mercenary, not a holdover, not a Band-Aid, and not even a risky rookie. They came away with Russell Wilson. And if you want to believe that 2021 was injury marred because of that mallet finger, I think it was, injury to his throwing hand, they still get a Russell Wilson who's 33 years old, a little different than 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. And to your point about the Kansas City Chiefs, everyone's talking about because the Broncos play Seattle this year in 2022, that should be the opening game, or the Broncos and the Rams on primetime. I want Kansas City in week 1. I want to snap that streak right away. I want to change the balance in the AFC West with my quarterback, my new franchise guy, going toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, who is beatable. If they can almost beat Patrick Mahomes with Case Keenum and Drew Lock, they can certainly weather that storm with Russell Wilson healthy, with all these offensive weapons. I want Kansas City. I want to take them down. I want to show we are not just playoff contenders, fringe contenders. We're no longer basement dwellers. We are division contenders, threats, and we are Super Bowl, not just contenders, but I think a front runner now to hoist that Lombardi. One more point. I have so many I want to make tonight. You called it a king's ransom. I'm not sure I would go that far. They gave up a fair amount, obviously. Not 3 first-round picks, though, which the Commanders reportedly offered for Russell Wilson, turned down by Seattle and Wilson. 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, a 5th-rounder. Drew Lock, a quarterback they really weren't invested in. I hate to see Drew Lock go. I wish him well in Seattle. I hope he gets a fair shake there. Noah Fant, a guy they were waffling on in his 5th-year option. George Paton even said at the Combine, well, we haven't really decided yet. That should have been a red flag that Noah Fant's future is kind of up in the air, a little murkier than we thought. Then Shelby Harris. Let me say, I'm surprised how much Broncos country still loved Shelby after getting paid last year and kind of mailing it in. He wasn't the game-changing player he was before getting that contract, and I made the point on Twitter, they didn't give up a foundational player. A foundational player to me is Simmons or Patrick Surtain. Shelby Harris was a nice, underrated starter to have, but he wasn't a foundational player. He was invisible for large stretches last year. The Broncos gave him up in the trade as well. They got Russell Wilson and a pick back in return. George Paton finessed a pick back in return from Seattle. He still has a second. He still has 2/3 in the upcoming draft. When you walk away with that type of quarterback and you still have a fair amount of capital to continue furthering your roster, it's a genius business move and personnel move by George Paton, who's quickly becoming one of the best general managers in the NFL. And when he was hired, I said it was a home run hire. I'm going to say it. Year and change later, it was a grand slam home run hire. The Broncos are now Super Bowl contenders, and I literally could not be more excited.
Hey, real quick, Scott, let's just put a pin in Clado. Clado, we're going to grab you next. Real quick, we got to do some matters of business. And you know what? This is the type of day where we're all clapping. I mean, the trade went down yesterday, but we're all still clapping. And there's more than one reason to clap, gang. Okay, because we're excited to remind you once again that Manscaped has launched their ultra premium collection. Believe it or not, it's actually for your not so private parts. We're talking about a leveled up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. And that's an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for everyday dudes and covers you from head to toe, literally Manscaped is trusted below the waist, trusted in my house. Believe. Now trust them with the rest. Join the other 4 million dudes worldwide who also trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. But you got to use the code MHH. Zach, I got a whole little kit here that I like to show everybody for Scratch and Sniff when we run Manscaped as a sponsor. But I use this stuff literally every day.
Yeah, I mean, I'll literally do a scratch and sniff test. I have the Crop Reviver by Manscaped. I mentioned this on the previous podcast about how it's good for freshening up the lower half, the undercarriage, when things get hot and steamy, things get muggy, things get, as things are in life, you go about your day. It's becoming spring now. I could smell it on my skin. I just sprayed it on myself, literally. It smells amazing. It's very refreshing. It's not overpowering. I like their cologne a lot as well, Chad. In addition to the razor, in addition to the nose hair trimmer, the weed whacker, which I really lean on because I have some sprouts coming out of my nostrils, that takes care of that. I could not recommend Manscaped highly enough, guys. I promise you on that.
That's one of the biggest surprises still. I see hairs growing out of my grandpa's ears and stuff like that. And then one day, wouldn't you know it, a freaking hair growing, one little single solitary hair growing out of my ear, the nose. It's the life of a dude. But guys, get in on Manscaped. Trust, it's going to make a huge difference in your life. Everything from lotions and different ointments for your dude parts to the trimmers themselves and all kinds of different stuff to make sure that you've got your male hygiene on point. Go to manscaped.com and use the code MHH at checkout. You will get 20% off plus free shipping. That's manscaped.com, code MHH for 20% off plus free shipping. All right, we're going to grab one or two more supers, and then we're going to grab Albert and get his take on some of this stuff. And man on the street, we couldn't have found a better one to represent Broncos country on these crucial issues that are going down right now. Clado, good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Says, what's up, fellas? It's been a while. My question is, does George Paton work an extension for our newfound franchise Q before or after the season? Zach, you had an article for us kind of reporting on this subject. Break it down.
Yeah, according to Adam Schefter and also Mike Kliss, the Broncos do want to give Russell Wilson a rework contract because he has 2 years left. And looking into it, no guaranteed money and fairly manageable salary cap hits. I think it's 24 and 27 or 27 and 32 still for a franchise guy like Russell Wilson. Those are extremely manageable. You can definitely absorb that with the Broncos salary cap space. But, he does want to play into his late 30s, as I write here. He does want to even play maybe until his early 40s. Tom Brady showed that's possible. Aaron Rodgers is showing that's possible. And except for the throwing hand injury last year, he's been relatively healthy and able to be durable in the NFL. He had that long starting streak come to an end. So that's what the plan is right now. They can't even announce the trade as official until March 16th, which is the start of the new league year. But Russell Wilson has a bonus coming up, a $5 million roster bonus. So for the Broncos to kind of lock in their quarterback, show a bit of good faith, pay Russell Wilson commensurate to the market, and also allow them to spread the salary cap hits, the bonuses, and the base salaries as they want. It's going to happen. It's just not going to happen in the very, very near future.
They could try and do like the Rams did with Matthew Stafford and kick that can down the road. But in the interest of, fresh start, like on the other guys with Will Ferrell, you want that fresh start. You want to be the Febreze brothers, and you want him feeling warm and fuzzy, which we know he is feeling warm and fuzzy. We've seen some of the images leaked of him flying into Denver and doing his physical and all that stuff. But I want to make sure he really feels the love if I'm George Paton. And look, we're not talking about a Broncos team, Zach, that is just racked close to the cap. They've still got pretty good space. In fact, Bob Morris had a report on that earlier today for us. We'll circle back to that a little bit later in our conversation. Let's grab Steve Armstrong, and then we'll talk with Albert. Steve, great to see you, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate you. The Mile Highlander in the house. There can only be one. No, there can be only one. Steve says, finally, our Broncos have a franchise quarterback. My boy from the University of Wisconsin is a Bronco. I'm excited to see what we'll do. #state of being. Indeed, it's just, it's there. It still smacks of, it just feels unreal, right? It doesn't feel tangible yet. And, we've seen some, like I said, hopefully you guys have seen some of those pictures of Russell Wilson's trip to Denver for the physical and all that stuff. I mean, it's real, guys. It's a real deal. But I don't know, maybe for a lot of people, including myself, I mean, we're going to analyze it rationally because we know it's real, but it's not maybe, Zach, going to fully sink in and hit home that A, the Broncos have actually solved quarterback, and B, that it's a bona fide 9-time Pro Bowler. Russell Wilson, 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback at 33 years old, now leading your Denver Broncos. Like, it is so, you can get hype right now, dude. You can get hype, Zach.
Ironically, the guy leading that massive Super Bowl blowout against the Broncos that really sticks in the craw of a lot of Broncos fans, as it should, is now captaining the Broncos. And a little underscore, another stroke in George Payton's genius is, as Zebulon points out, trading Shelby should open up cap room, and also Noah Fant and also Drew Lock. They actually saved, get this, $12 million. That's the difference. They cleared 36. They took on 24 from Russ. So they got Russell Wilson, and they actually cleared $12 million in the interim and also picked up a draft pick just for craps and giggles, Chad. So literally, George Payton is doing a masterful job. I could not be happier with him leading the charge. And what a refreshing change now it is compared to the Elway years. Not settling for the Band-Aid types, really being aggressive, not overly reckless, and making your team from NFL irrelevant to a contender to hoist the Lombardi Trophy in February in a matter of minutes.
You know, he's now, and by the way, Scott, I just did everything I could possibly do to affect the gain. So hopefully it's a little bit better on the mic. Russell Wilson, Zach, becomes the first quarterback to now start for a team that he defeated in the Super Bowl. And on that note, let's grab Albert Noppers. Now, Albert's been with us in this community for a long time, multiple years. This isn't his first appearance on the show. In fact, I think, Zach, technically this will be Albert's third appearance because we had him on a regular Super Chat segment, and then he was on the gut reaction for our meet and greet week 3 in Denver. So let's grab him. He should be no stranger to many of you. Albert Noppers in the house. What is going on, big dog? How are you? Thanks for making time for us.
I'm doing great. I'm excited about a new season. So, yeah, we got a great quarterback. What else?
Hey, I don't know if you could maybe like duck your head to the left, just your left, just a little. Look at this. Look at this industrious, creative artist before you right now. Made this on his own. Dope. Mile High Huddle, #state of being. For those of you listening, behind Albert right now is a banner that he made it himself. Probably got a little help from the missus, Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. And it's a cool, big Bronco blue backdrop with the continents, of Earth laid out like, flat wise, Mile High Huddle, #state of being. And he's got the t-shirt to match. So this is how you know he's a ride or die member of our community. So Albert, first things first, real quick, let's dive into some topics here. What was your gut reaction when you learned that the Denver Broncos had moved a mountain or two to acquire Russell Wilson? How did that hit you?
I almost fell backwards on my chair. So, the news came that Aaron Rodgers stayed with the Packers, and within an hour or so, we got the news that Russell Wilson came to the Broncos, and I think Russell Wilson stole Aaron Rodgers' highlight. I'm right happy with that.
Albert, I think everyone pretty much agrees. The consensus is the Broncos won this trade. It's like the level of severity in which they dominated Seattle in trade talks. I happen to think that George Payton bent John Schneider over a barrel, showed him the 50 states. But even as Chad and I debated, was it a king's ransom in your opinion? Was it too much? Was parting with Locke and Noah Fant and Shelby Harris, 3 starting players on top of that draft haul, was it too much for you to do, or do you think George Payton got a steal? I'm in the latter camp.
He definitely got a steal. I even cannot believe that the Seahawks let Russell go.
Right.
Yeah, this is amazing, and I'm so excited about it. We still have several picks left for the draft, so we can build around Russell. No, this was probably the deal of the decade.
It might be the
Boom.
biggest trade, at least of the modern era, anyway. I mean, it might be hard to remember going back this far, but the Herschel Walker trade back in the late 80s, man, or mid to late 80s, that was a shell shocker for a lot of people. But that was back when running backs were a much more prized possession in the NFL. Albert, get this. All right. Russell Wilson, been in the league since 2012. So let's see, 10 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The
Mhm.
number of times the Seahawks have been to the playoffs with Russell Wilson as the starter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the Seahawks have only missed, or I should say, Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback in the NFL, his team has only missed the playoffs twice in a decade. How can you not be not just optimistic, Albert, but confident that the Broncos, this is where the streak ends as far as the ignominy, the disappointment, the embarrassment, the doldrums? Broncos are going back to the playoffs 2022. Book it.
Yeah, I think we have a legit shot for the Super Bowl. Last year, that the Seahawks didn't make it because Russell did not have the support that he needed. Here, he already has all the weapons that he needs. We just need to sturdy up our offensive line, but that's about it.
Albert, I like asking the subjective questions. So pretend you're the Broncos general manager. You just pulled off this trade. You have a franchise quarterback, a playoff-ready roster. What is your definition of success? What are you expecting the Broncos to do with the Russell Wilson-led team, assuming full health and things kind of bounce the Broncos' way? Are you expecting a division title? Are you expecting a Super Bowl appearance, or would a playoff appearance qualify as a good job?
With how the Chiefs are right now, they still might be a little bit ahead of us because we have a very young team and some new players coming in, a brand new system. But I definitely think that we will go to the playoffs as the second in our division. But I think we're going to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs because by that time, our team is way on top.
Albert, you mentioned the place real quick. I want to just get a second question. Just it's a silly one, but Nick Wright, for anyone who saw it, this is the same guy who in 2020 predicted the Broncos win 2 games. I think he's a Kansas City fan. He's for FS1. He's a clown, but he said the Broncos, I think, now have the third best quarterback in the division, with Russell Wilson being only better than Derek Carr. I think he's better at his best than Justin Herbert. And you can argue there were warts to Patrick Mahomes' game. I think he's an outstanding quarterback. But when you have a defense like the Broncos do, they always played him close for the most part, and they have the offensive weaponry, as you said. I think they could have the best quarterback in the West now, which is a crazy thought in itself.
And that's what I think too. Russell has way more experience. And he is tough. He is one tough son of gun. And that's what I like about Russell Wilson. And he's not afraid of getting hit either. I think he's maybe less mobile than Mahomes. But other than that, I think he is on par with Mahomes.
Maybe not the Star Wars numbers, but he hasn't exactly been in a Star Wars setting, right? He's not Seattle. Their forte has been defense. So we're not talking about Russell Wilson being Darth Vader on the Death Star. You know, he's on Tatooine, basically, trying to make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. Real quick, Albert, while we've got you, this has been a hot topic. I think Zach and I, we might have come off maybe a little bit too negative Nancy when this subject was broached on, was it Monday? Monday night, I think Miller was hinting on Instagram. He must have had some kind of like early sign, dude. He must have gotten word that the Broncos were closing in on a trade, because then he was talking about on Instagram, can I get my old locker back and all this. I missed the mile high, 5280. But the brainstorm with a couple of super chats, thank you, buddy, wants to know, what's the most you'd pay to get Miller back? Now, the reports are, and first of all, Miller himself said Rams get first right of refusal in terms of, you know, he's going to see what they want to do first in terms of bringing him back, and from that, he'll decide what he does from there. Well, if it's not a deal that blows his hair back, Albert, he wants reportedly $20 million a year on his next deal. with Russell Wilson in town, coming back home, kind of reigniting the old flame, maybe he takes a little bit less to come back to Denver, like DeMarcus Ware did to come to Denver in 2014. But what would you be willing to pay to get Von Miller back here in terms of free agent dollars?
So I would sign Von for 2 years, and then for about 14 million, maybe 15 million a year. That's about the much I would pay. Of course, he is not the Von that he was, but still, if you put him on the field, he will always be covered by at least 2 players, and that opens it up for other players. Just for that reason alone, I would be willing to pay 14, 15, but that's about it.
All right, Zach, we've got time for one more for this legend. What you got?
I mean, I just want to say, I don't think I was a Debbie Downer too much. I just said I don't want to pay Von 20 for the sake of paying Von Miller and paying for the Von Miller name. I would have no problem coming back if it's reasonable, and there are other options on the board. You can look at Hassan Reddick, you can look at Chandler Jones, and those guys would also draw double teams as well. So again, are you paying for production or are you paying for the Von Miller cachet? If it's 14, 15, like Albert said, I'm for that. 20 to me is kind of pushing it.
I agree. Albert, dude, it's so great to chat with you. We need to catch up more. We need to have you on the show again in the near future. I don't know if you're going to be able to make our meet and greet in Las Vegas, but even if you're not, we're going to be doing it again in the fall, and hopefully look forward to seeing you soon. I will, of course, be in touch with you about other things, but thank you so much for oh, wait. What do we got here? Hold on now. For those listening after the fact, this industrious man who's like,
look how he did it to him.
Wait, what are you? 6'5", 6'5", 6'6"?
I'm 6'5".
6'5". This giant of a man. Let me see that one more time. Flash the crowd. This is maybe an idea for whoever wins the raffle at the end of this month on Super Chat and Facebook. A blue Russell Wilson jersey and Bronco home jersey. Gorgeous, man. Gets you excited. But Albert, dude, thank you so much for making time. Give our best once again to your wonderful wife, Michelle, and we will talk to you soon. And of course, we'll be seeing you in the stream. And thank you for everything, dude. Want you to know that we don't take it for granted. You are very, very important to us in this community and to me as a friend. And thank you very much for making time.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. And anytime you want me to come back, let me know.
We'll make it happen quick, buddy.
Thank you, Albert.
Sounds good.
Have a good night, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. There he goes. Albert Noppers. Love chatting with Albert. Legendary guy. And like I said, very, very near and dear to my heart. Now, Zach, we are behind the 8 ball. We got a lot of super chats stacked up to get to. People are dying to sound off, including our great superstar supporters on Facebook, like Tim, who says, I am so excited for this season. This dude is going to be with us year after year. Finally, we have the main guy that can compete against the Chiefs, Chargers. I can't say that guy.
It's not what he said, Chad.
Faders. Sure, this did cost a lot, but he can come in and immediately make us definite contenders. With all these weapons he has at his disposal, now hopefully we can focus on building Wilson an offensive line that can protect him so that he has time to throw and set up the QB scramble for him. Go Broncos. By the way, thank you, Tim, buddy. By the way, Zach, how freaking lucky is Nathaniel Hackett? This dude gets his first head coaching job, and that in and of itself for a coach is like winning the lottery. You're like, dude, I made it. I'm made in the shade. And then the GM that hired you says, but wait, there's more. You got, who was it that would show up on the doorstep with the sweepstakes? I forget it. Was it Summerall? Was it Pat Summerall that would do that? Anyway, it's like that. George Payton says, no. Yes, you're now got more money than you or your kids are ever going to need. You're one of 32 head coaches in the NFL. And by the way, here's Russell Wilson. Go make hay. I mean, this dude is lucky. And he probably had some factor in terms of Wilson saying, you know what, Denver is good for me, because he had to sign off on this. He had the no trade clause prerogative. And so, Zach, that might have been a factor. But we now know, in hindsight, looking back on those reports from November and December, Russell, long before Nathaniel Hackett was the head coach in Denver, had already circled the Broncos as one of, 4 teams he would be open to waiving his no-trade clause for. I just can't get over how fortunate Nathaniel Hackett is to land in Denver at this moment in time.
I agree for sure, but what about how fortunate Russell Wilson is getting to work with an offensive mind like Nathaniel Hackett after coming from the Pete Carrolls and the Brian Schottenheimers and the Shane Waldrons? He's been so unhappy in Seattle for such a long while. Why do you think "Let Russ Cook" has been a trending hashtag for like 5 years now? You're going to cook in an offense that should perfectly coincide with his ability. His play action might be the sweetest in the entire NFL. His ball fakes. And imagine him rolling out, throwing on the run. He's so accurate down the field to Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. I'm literally getting chills right now as I talk about it, chat. It's perfect to his ability. It's perfect for Hackett as well. So it's an ideal marriage. I just think for Russell Wilson, he's going to feel empowered again. He's going to really enjoy playing football again. And Tom Pelissero reported earlier today that he was looking for a reboot on his career. And of all the options, of all the trade suitors for Wilson, he was all in on coming to Denver. He was excited about the opportunity, throwing to players like Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, hopefully comes back healthy. But also, you have to be excited about working with a coach and an innovative offensive mind like Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, man. By the way, Tim, huge stars, dude. Thank you so much for that, by the way. Really means the world to us, my dog. Christian is back in the house. He says, hey, guys, I'm back. Still watching all the pods. This is so dang exciting. No more QB purgatory, and mediocre won't cut it. Russ is a great man on and off the field. 11-6 floor minimum. Let's frickin' go. Hashtag let Russ cook. Amen, bro. Amen. And, there was other reporting, Zach, I read today. I think it was from The Athletic. I want to make sure I credit at least the source. And Smith Corona, love you, bro. Thank you. Never Ending Nightmare is over. Peyton, GM of the Year candidate. Seattle got fleeced. If they truly make hay and get out there and make the playoffs, even if they don't go win a Super Bowl in year one like Stafford and Brady did at their new destinations, George Payton's definitely angling for that, especially after Zach cleaned up with that best draft award, etc. But straightforward as well. In the house, Aloha fam, MHH, we making moves. Yes, indeed. There was something I was going to say, but then I lost my train of thought with all these great supporters. Oh, The Athletic. Russell, one of the reasons Wilson was amenable to the idea of moving on is he felt like Seattle was kind of wasting his prime, that the shot callers there, John Schneider, the GM, and the frankly lackluster moves that team had made to put and build around him weapons and support. He felt like it would potentially tarnish his legacy as a quarterback in the league. He's thinking Hall of Fame. He's thinking down the road and all that. And so, hey, come to Denver where the fruit's already ripe. It's hanging low. Go get it. It's time to eat. Let's go, Russ.
I almost want to pull up the Broncos 2022 opponents because we don't know the schedule, dates, and times yet. And just like give an early record prediction with Russell Wilson and the offense that we know it as of now. To the previous comments, why I'm talking about it, 11-7, 10-7 should be the floor for the Broncos. I argued 12-5. I don't math very well. Should be the floor. Show me the hole. I mean, there's minor things every here and there that they need an inside linebacker and a right tackle, and I can use more edge guys. But when you fill the biggest void, when you fill the most important position in all of sports with a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who's rejuvenated, by the way, motivated now, not just kind of just riding off in the twilight in the shell of his former self. I mean, I see high double-digit wins. Easy. I'm in a good mood.
I am too, man. I feel like I'm on cloud nine. Like I said, it still has a feeling of being unreal to me. Shane Daniels, the aviator in the house. What's good, bro? Appreciate you. He says, I am so excited for Russ to be here. Just need to remove the name tag off my number 3 jersey.
That's what I thought Albert did that with the lock jersey because it was number 3. Yeah. Scott did too.
He's crafty. I wouldn't put it past Albert. He has skills with the Z. But he says, I think it's crazy that some pundits are saying he's the 3rd or 4th best Q in the division, and even heard one call this the equivalent of the Flacco trade. Those are just hot take artists trying to be the guy that can say something hot enough to trend on Twitter or to go viral and to get us talking about it on this podcast like ours, Shane. But you know what? Hey, the term was coined with that number at heart, Zach. Let him hate. It's all good. If you got one in the hand, I would say it's worth more than 2 in the bush because The Broncos have gone through how many in the bush now? How many starting quarterbacks has it been post Peyton Manning? I mean, that's how many Russell Wilson is worth, if not more. 727 mil, love you, bro. Need an O-line and free agency. Do you see us getting Bobby Wagner, whom the Seattle Seahawks released, and Vaughn coming back? I feel it. Don't re-sign Melvin Gordon. Fumbled the ball over Gordon. Take a rookie in the late rounds. Well, let's start with that, Zach. What do you think?
I mean, first I want to say there's a lot of talented inside linebacker talent on the open market. Bobby Wagner being one, Jordan Hicks, who was cut by Arizona today, being two, Devondre Campbell from Green Bay coming off an all-pro year being three. And also you have the in-house talent. You have the Jewel, Johnson, and Kenny Young trio. So the Broncos have a lot they can choose from. They can spend a little, they can spend a lot, but they should be able to get someone good to fill that void. What I love about the Russell Wilson move, a nice little subplot, is that now it makes the Broncos a hot free agent destination. Not unlike when Peyton joined the Broncos and not unlike when Brady joined the Bucs. Now players are going to want to play in Denver. They are going to crave to play in Denver, and they may take a little less money in order to do so. So reuniting Russell Wilson with Bobby Wagner, the Broncos have a big hole to fill at linebacker, inside and outside. That's a guy who has plenty of gas left in the tank. The Broncos have a little money to spend, and I know he'd want to come and ride the Denver wave.
Reunite with Russ. By the way, shout out Phil McLaughlin, you the man. We also have a great member of our community exemplifying the hashtag state of being up there north of the 49th parallel. Appreciate you, Simon. Great to see you, big dog. So I love this trade. Being a good British Columbia boy, I have watched the Hawks play almost as much as the Broncos. Beyond excited to see what comes. Wilson is a clutch competitor. Go Broncos. That's one thing that I just miss, dude, is, we get to see not only quarterback competency, where you're not like edge of your seat, and not in a good way, wondering what's going to happen, snap in, snap out with your quarterback, but a guy who can actually give you dynamic production, raise the ships around him. And then when the chips are down, here's the bonus, as he highlights here, Zach. When the chips are down and you need that drive, you need to move those chains, you need those points, Russell Wilson delivers with gusto.
What are two of the qualities that both Nathaniel Hackett and Justin Houghton talked about what they're seeking in a quarterback? That's intelligence, obviously talent, but also an ability to protect the football. To quote Houghton, the football is everything. And that was a quote that was uttered in the early Drew Lock years for good reason. He was very turnover prone, and you can't win in the NFL when you're constantly losing the turnover battle. It's time for the offense to help out the defense now by giving them leads, letting them pin their ears back, not the defense having to win the game and the offense barely getting by, never pulling their own weight. So what Russell Wilson can do, his abilities with his legs, his improvisational abilities, his arm talent, it just perfectly coalesces with what the Broncos want to do under Hackett, rolling out, making plays deep, making the Broncos exciting again.
Yep. Well said, my friend. Appreciate that, Simon. We've also got Jason Cardoza in the house. What's good? I was going to say, I think that's a newer name on Super Chat. He says, hey, Chad and Zach, first-time donator. Really loving the content you guys bring week in and week out. Kudos to George Payton for making one of the biggest trades in NFL history. Elway would have traded for Wentz. Maybe. I'm not quite ready to dance on Elway's grave, but I'll join you in celebrating that huge trade by George Payton.
I don't think it's dancing on his grave. It's a very Elway type move. I think he'd forego the blockbuster for Wilson, and he would settle for this is the same guy that called Joe Flacco first entering his prime. I mean, what are you thinking at that point? So, yeah, I think Carson Wentz only had to give up 2 third-round picks. I think the trade was he went to the Commanders today from Indianapolis, or he would have went for Jimmy Garoppolo or someone like that. It would have been another Band-Aid. Russell Wilson's not a Band-Aid. That's what I love about it.
Faux show. Elway continued to convince himself, he was kind of a miser in the sense that, we can get by with Joe. We can get by with Case because, we're one QB away from winning it all, middle of the road QB, that is, away from winning it all again. It probably would have been a bridge too far, the haul that they gave up. I am Supreme. Love you, buddy. Thank you, bro. Elway did get us Manning, Peyton. And Vaughn Manning Peyton, so salute to him. Amen. Jess says, cheers to better days, guys. Thank goodness. Yes, sirree. Make sure you pay your tithing to the football gods this week because they came through in a big, bad way, opened up the windows of football heaven, poured you out a blessing. Thank you for that super sticker, Stu Meat. You the man. Nash the fifth in the hizzy. The Mile High Magic is back. He says, no more Aaron Rodgers talk. Makes me a happy man. The Broncos are in a better place with Russ, in my opinion, than they would be with Rodgers, Zach.
I mean, you can argue, obviously, the longevity, 33 compared to 39, but I just in terms of Russell Wilson's game, I mean, his legs, I know he's not Lamar Jackson, but his ability to move around the pocket and extend plays, it really is underrated. Throwing on the run, throwing downfield. It's really ironic, Chad, because Madden NFL 22 put out a brief little hype video previewing Wilson in a Broncos uniform. The very first play that they simulated was Russell Wilson throwing an 80-yard touchdown to who? Jerry Jeudy. Not the guy dropping it, not the guy running fake jet sweeps all game. This is going to open up the entire offense. So I did want Aaron. I understood his age. I understood the off-field, I guess you can call it baggage. But now that they got Russell Wilson, just looking at what he can do and how it fits in the West Coast scheme with Nathaniel Hackett, I mean, I literally cannot be more hyped.
Shane Daniels, the aviator again. John Elway, P.S. he says, and this is a good point. I actually said something similar to this earlier today. John Elway has moved back into legend status because he brought Peyton, and then his final act of glory, hiring George Payton, and then exiting stage left. And what did George Payton do but acquire Russell Wilson via trade? F them picks, home run higher indeed, my friend. Miguel, good to see you, buddy. Hallelujah, he says in all caps, the storm has passed. Still hyped up about that trade. Guys, it changes everything. It changes everything. And eventually we need to talk about what this means for the draft. But first, let's grab Andrew Baker, and then we'll see about that topic. He says, how ironic with the Seahawks' 12th man motto, Wilson becomes our 12th man since 11 QBs started after Peyton Manning. So he'll become the 12th. Super excited for Broncos country and for Zach to finally be able to talk about us being good and not the poo-poo of why we're bad. Hey, the salad days are here, baby.
Listen, I didn't want to do it. I was forced to do it. I do my job as ably as I can. But when that trade went through, when I feasted my eyes on that Adam Schefter tweet, I had the same thought I had on prom night. It's happening. This is going to be the winning season. This is going to be the Broncos playoff appearance. This might be the next Broncos championship team. I literally could not be more pumped up. You're never going to see me more optimistic than I am now. I want to see a good Broncos team. I missed out on that by a few months in 2016, like I mentioned. So it's happening. That's all I can say.
It's happening, baby. It's happening. Chris, 21. Let's go. Is this Hernandez? Because this is similar to his Twitter handle. I wonder if this is Chris Hernandez. Did you change? If not, I apologize, but I wonder if you are. What did I miss? Hey, dude, everything, big dog. You know this. Thank you for that super chat. Wait a minute. I see Chris, Chris. Oh, it is. Okay. Yo, dude, I know. Isn't it freaking exciting? Chris, when you coming back? We need to get you on the show. Let's go. Let's do it soon, my dog. By the way, you need to check that work email. I correspond to you. I don't hear anything back. I feel like, the girl that didn't get invited to the prom, let's go. Chris, love you, bro. Thank you for that generosity. 2 super chats. You the man, dude.
And literally just super chatting to be involved in the conversation. It's just, you are so generous, Chris, and we're so appreciative and really humbled by how amazing you are. Thank you.
Joshua Shadow, emerging from the shadows of Bronco fandom of the past 6 years and into the Russell Wilson light. He says, I haven't been this excited in years. Love it. G Hill with a symbolic super 33.33, baby. Thank you, buddy. That's very generous. Thank you. Travis Weber, good evening. Peyton did his magic and Denver roped another unicorn. I'm still ecstatic. Some fans think we gave up too much. It's a business. Fans weren't attending games, and we have been irrelevant for 6 seasons. Which we no longer will be. Now, as a fan, I would love to bring Vaughn and Wagner and draft a right tackle, Zach.
It was one of the biggest clues of George Payton's thinking. And I tweeted earlier before the pod, I love how close to the vest he is. He never telegraphs anything. There's no leaks coming out of the Broncos front office. A stark departure from the Elway years. But in a rare admission of his honest to God thoughts, what he said last year was he wants the Broncos to be relevant again. And that, as soon as I read that, it led me to believe that he was going to do anything in his power with a capital A to get the Broncos back to NFL relevancy. And he did it in a matter of minutes, and he did it for Russell freaking Wilson, and he did it without selling the farm. He did it without mortgaging the future too much. And I actually think he pillaged the Seahawks. I think it was highway robbery. If you really want to know my honest to God thoughts, it puts the Broncos, like what LA did with Matt Stafford, immediately from day one into championship contention. F them picks. I do not care.
It's happening. G, though, he says, Russ is going to cook 3 Super Bowls for show. Chad and Zach, out of free agency, who should we get that can fit in with experience and go to the bowl? And then he says 33 is 29 for Russ. AFC West games will be great. Yes, indeed. Well, first things first, I think, learn some of the lessons of the past relative to what the Seahawks did wrong and make sure that you get that O-line as bolstered as you can. You got the weapons. He's loaded for bear on this hunt, Russell Wilson. Like, he's got the coaching, he's got the scheme, he's got the weapons, but figure out right tackle. If that means you're drafting one, if one of your remaining premium round picks, Zach, or bringing back Bobby Massey, you probably should bring back Bobby Massey and sign someone and draft someone. Like, you need to make sure you got tackle locked down.
I could not agree more with that. I was going to say the same exact point. I'm bringing back Bobby Massey because he wasn't too bad last year. If anything, he's a good backup depth guy, insurance guy, whatever. You have to prioritize O-line, though. So whether it's their additional second they have, their third-round picks, they want to maybe give up future picks, whatever, you have to prioritize that, because the one thing, except for beef with Carroll and John Schneider in Seattle, the one thing that really soured Russell on the Seahawks was how often he was being hit and how often he was being sacked. You can't let that happen in Denver. You have to protect any quarterback, and it won't matter who's back there if you can't protect him. So the premium before even inside linebacker, before slot cornerback and safety, you have to take care of the O-line. You got to make sure right tackle's locked down. So yeah, I'm signing Massey. I'm drafting a guy in the premium rounds, and may the best man win.
Travis, appreciate you, buddy. He's as amped as we are. Brad's amped. This is so rad, dude. Love it. Appreciate you guys. The stars. Oh, and we got Ed Keating in the house too. This is rad. Edward Keating. Bro, I'm happy for you, Ed. I know that you have suffered as much as anybody through the quarterback purgatory, wandering the QB desert. He says, I'm so freaking excited and happy. We stole Wilson from the Seahawks. We're Super Bowl contenders again. We're beating the Chiefs this year. Time to get my Surtain and Wilson jerseys. Thanks, guys. Yeah, bro. I mean, look, I don't want to pretend like the Broncos gave up nothing to get Russell Wilson. I mean, you can argue they gave up 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, another second-round pick, and then everything else, including Shelby Harris, who you could argue, not last year, but you could argue is a Pro Bowl caliber D lineman. 2 real first-round picks that they'll get to actually use. Noah Fant, Zach, a former first-round pick 3 years removed. Drew Lock, a second-round pick 3 years removed. I mean, the Broncos didn't just give up nothing, right? It's not like the Seahawks just took a song. Hey, George, grab your acoustic guitar, sing us a song, and we'll trade you Russell Wilson. No. I mean, they gave up some serious capital, but in the grand scheme of things, you got to come to terms with it quick. If you're harboring any doubts about that, you got to come to terms with it, because it doesn't matter your first-round pick, your other first-round pick, your other second-round pick. None of that matters when you don't have the quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, and I mean a franchise quarterback, who knows what Drew could have become? You guys know we were 2 of his biggest proponents on this podcast, Drew Lock. But far cry from Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson gives you the ability to do just about anything in the NFL, and he covers holes. So you can live without having a first-round pick this year. You can live without having a first-round pick next year. And you're not really even going to miss it, to be frank with you, because this team is already stacked, dude. It's young. It's stacked. All it needed, Zach, was that quarterback. And that's why, man, you should be just thrilled, peeps. And I know you are.
Yeah, obviously it's not nothing what they gave up, but let's look at, they got Russell Wilson. They're even getting a draft pick back. And you part with 3 players. I mean, if you would have told me they traded for Rodgers or Wilson without giving up, again, a foundational player like a Simmons or a Surtain or even maybe a Bradley Chubb, I wouldn't have believed it. It would have been fake news in my eyes. But you give up, let's say, a quarterback in Drew Lock who really the writing was on the wall. It was borrow time. They didn't seem super committed. They were exploring every other quarterback. They were making a real hard trade for Aaron Rodgers. So it didn't look like Drew was in the future plans. Noah Fant, as I mentioned, it seemed like his future was up in the air from what George Paton said at the Combine. And honestly, they have Albert O. I mean, it's not like they have no one behind Noah Fant. And right. Shelby Harris, Evero doesn't have any investment to Shelby. He wasn't around in the previous regime. Maybe he wants to go in a different direction. They have Draymond Jones. They can use the remaining draft picks to fortify that spot. They can maybe look to the open market to bring in some D-line help. So I think when you give up that for Russell, and on top of that, you're netting $12 million in salary cap space. How do you not think that's just A++ across the board?
I think there's no way you can say the Broncos did not win that trade. Did they give up a lot? Sure. But now, look, they're not that team with 2 in the bush. Hopefully one day we'll find one. They got 1 in the hand. Tom Simmers, what's good, big dog? Wilson made out better than anyone. Best weapons he's ever had, no doubt about it. With an air-it-out coach, the defenses in the AFC West aren't as tough. Let them hate indeed, big dog. Let them hate. And Ed jumping in saying, too, that George Paton's a god. Let's go. David Wilder, hope things have improved for you, my friend. Seen how active you've been since you've returned back to the fold. David's been through some stuff. I'm not going to betray any confidences he shared with us, but great to see you back in the chat, my friend. And thank you for all that you do, not just for our podcast, but for all the MHH pods. Clayton, what are your thoughts on a free agent and draft possibilities after the trade? So Zach, that's a salient topic. What do the Broncos do in the draft now? What do they have left? I'm trying to rack my brain. The 64th pick, right? They held on to this year, which was the trade, the Von Miller second rounder. And then their third, they still have their 2 thirds. I'm trying to remember. No thirds, right? Were there thirds in that? I'm confusing myself.
It was 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 5th.
Right. So you've got a second round pick, barely. I mean, might as well be a third round pick, but it's still technically a second round pick. 2 third rounders. So that's 3 top 100 picks. What are you doing, Zach?
You have to fortify the offensive line. I mean, you don't just have questions at right tackle. Who's playing left guard? Is it Reisner? Who's playing center? Is it Cushenberry? What are you doing with Glasgow? Can the new O-line coach and the system get Garrett Bowles back to his 2020 level? There's more questions than right tackle, but you got to keep Wilson upright, or else it won't matter if it's Russell Wilson or Teddy Bridgewater back there. So you got to shore up right tackle. You need defensive line help, as we just laid out. You need inside linebacking help, but you can't solve every problem through the draft. What I think George Paton will do now, because you can argue he has more salary cap freedom than he does draft capital freedom. So he can sign expensive players. You can bring back Von Miller. You can bring in Bobby Wagner, Jordan Hicks. You can bring in a safety if you want to. Maybe not Tyrann Mathieu, but I think what he's going to do is plug as many holes, the biggest holes, as he can. Not overspending, but spending some of that money. And whatever is remaining going into late April, he's going to use those picks to fortify.
All right. Nathan says, good to see you, by the way, buddy. Paton should be referred to as the general. In more ways than one, right? He definitely solidified his position for any potential new owners. No doubt about that, my dog. No doubt. And by the way, we're coming up on 55 minutes. We'll hang a little bit later than we might usually, but we can't hang too long because there's lots of fish to fry. Jeremy, dude, thank you, my dog. Thank you so much. So generous. Love you, bro. You've done a lot for us, not just tonight, but over the course of things. And we love you, dude. What more can I say? I love you, man. He says, I was so blindsided by that trade. Came out of left field, and Paton channeled his inner Babe Ruth. Knocked it out of the park. Good luck, Lock, and Godspeed. Yeah, Zach, you were talking about George Paton. You give him a grade A. He also used A, aggressive, right? He was talking about we're going to be aggressive in our pursuit of a quarterback. The man so far has been a man of his word. Like when he says he's going to do something, you don't really have to GM speak, hype. hyperbole. No, dude. If George Payton says it, then it is. That's what's going to happen. Dude, seriously, like, I can't doubt this cat anymore. Has he been a perfect GM? I mean, we can nitpick a couple things like the Philip Lindsay thing or whatever, but dude, this dude's A+. I mean, it's all A's. It's AAA. It's A+. Name it.
He didn't just knock it out of the park. I mean, he knocked it. He stared down the Seahawks as he rounded the bases and did a bat flip right in their freaking faces. I mean, it's incredible in the way in which he operates. This is the same guy that rented out Von Miller for half a season, allowed Von to win his second ring for the price he got paid second and third round draft picks, and now can bring him back. I mean, the business sense and the 4D chess moves that George Payton employs. I mean, it's. I was going to say orgasmic, but I mean that completely platonically.
Platonic orgasmic. Okay, Colby,
PG.
what's good? What's good, big dog? Heard the Rodgers news, was kind of bummed. Went back to bed, work at night, and wake up to Wilson as our new quarterback. Complete surprise. I know. If there was any of you among you who got to be the first to tell a fellow Broncos fan, did you hear? Russ is our cue. Very satisfying, Zach. Very satisfying indeed.
I mean, I went on ESPN last night, I think it was, and I clicked on Russell Wilson's profile, and it says Russell Wilson QB Broncos, and I had to rub my eyes, literally. I'm not exaggerating. It's crazy. I woke up today, and I thought to myself, did that really happen? I mean, I have to check Twitter, and I actually Googled Russell Wilson, and it's sure enough, Russell Wilson, according to Wikipedia, Chad, is a quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and that sentence alone is surreal. It's amazing.
Indeed. And yeah, Nash the fifth, he's coming back to Colorado. If you guys didn't know, right? Russell Wilson, two-sport player in college, was drafted by the Rockies. G again, thanks, buddy. George Payton is genius. George Payton for president. Michaela again, is Vaughn coming back? I'd love to have him back. And also, let's bring in Wagner. Well, it depends on, do you believe Vaughn? Like Vaughn, on one hand, Zach, he's flirting with Broncos fans in, teasing a potential return, and then on the other, he gives a direct quote to, I forget who it was, ESPN, someone ESPN, but he's going to give the Rams basically the first right of refusal. He wants to go back to the Rams if possible, but now I have to wonder how true that is, Zach, because Vaughn suffered, Zach, through the depredations, got traded, went and won a Super Bowl, come back home, dude. Now you're living the dream now. You get to rush the passer, make serious bank, close out the career like you're a mentor and big bro, DeMarcus Ware, and you get to do it at home in the football city wherein your family lives too. I'm talking about his baby mama and his boy. I mean, for Vaughn, it makes a ton of sense. Does George Payton, though, want to go out and spend $15 million per year on Von Miller at 33? I don't know, but we'll see.
I just think it's so, I guess, strange that Vaughn's being so direct and transparent. At least he says he is. And on, I think it was Instagram, might have been Twitter. I can't keep up with social media anymore. He posted a picture of him and Russell Wilson meeting on the field when the Broncos played the Seahawks. And he was like, "What's up, Russ?" He's just leading the breadcrumbs. I don't know if he genuinely is that heartsick to come back to Denver and hopefully willing to give them a hometown discount, or he's trying to coax more money out of the Rams a la Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. That's what I kind of have my trepidation about. This all comes down to money for Vaughn, who wants to be highly paid and cash in. You have to also consider this might be his last dip into the deep end of the free agent pool, his last chance to cash out as a premier player. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic.
I don't think so. I mean, he's doing all this social media flirtation for a reason. JJ, what's going on, big dog? Elway got us Vaughn, DeMarcus, the no-fly zone, Peyton Manning, George Payton. Elway will always be the man. I agree. Don't, appreciate him for what he did. Was he perfect? No, especially that second half of his tenure. But hey, appreciate what he did. Eric, we're running out of time, guys. We're going to have to rapid fire from here. He says, I'm pumped that Peyton pulled off the massive, well-structured trade, relieved we won't be stuck in QB purgatory for another season, and totally fired up. We're returning to relevance. Let's freaking go, Broncos. Amen, dude. Amen. Jacob, big love, dude. Appreciate you. Thank you for the stars on Facebook, my friend. Really do appreciate you. Travis Weber as well, Big T. Nathan says, just show Vaughn the gas prices in Denver and he'll leave LA in a heartbeat. David Wilder says, Peyton's financially smart and aggressive at the same time. I love it. Yeah, dude, it's really wild because he's very pragmatic. He's very smart about the money, but he's not afraid to spend the money if he knows it's going to give his team the return. And money in a figurative sense too, Zach, in that, capital, the picks included.
Do you know what?
Oh, go ahead, bro.
I thought there was a delay. Do you know what is crazy about George Payton? What I love about him, like I mentioned, he's so close to the vest in what he wants to do. Never telegraphs anything. He speaks with his actions, not his words. But he's not deceitful either. He doesn't purposely kind of sway or lie to the public or the press or whatever. I think it was December. He said, we have the resources where, this is a direct quote from Peyton, we can do whatever we want. This is the same guy who said they can be he's going to be aggressive but not reckless. He has lived up to his definition of himself and what he wants to do with the Broncos, but he's also such an expert negotiator, businessman, and forward thinker that it's the perfect combination. The Broncos are in such excellent hands with George Payton.
They're very lucky to have landed George Payton for sure. Eric, appreciate you. We've got one at 6:41 from Adon Moreno, who says, hey, guys, I'm hoping for immediate success with Wilson and Hackett. The trade has got me smiling like Russ's pick with cornrows. Heck yeah, dude, you should be smiling ear to ear. I mean, sunny days are here again.
I reacted like Russell's girl on his draft night. If anyone doesn't know what that looks like, she's like screaming right in his face. She was that excited, so that was my reaction.
Bobby Digital. Oh, but busy night for Scott indeed. Yes, very busy night. Bobby Digital says, what's up, Broncos country? How do you feel about getting Bobby Wagner to pair up with Chubb? I like it. I like the idea. Depends on price a little bit for me. And I need to go back and do a deep dive on Wagner to speak with perfect. I mean, in his prime, he was arguably the best off-ball linebacker in the NFL. He's still playing at a high level, but give me a day or two to come back on that one. Jose, can't wait to watch Behind the Broncos episode of how it went down. True. That's going to be dope.
And yeah, about the inside linebacker as well. If they strike out on Wagner, they don't want to pursue him. Again, Jordan Hicks is out there. Devontae Campbell's out there. I think they should bring back one of Kenny Young, Josie Jewell, and A.J. Johnson. There's a lot of talent the Broncos could choose from. They might want to sign 2 inside linebackers, to be perfectly honest.
Jeremy says, sorry to see Shelby Hustle Hands Harris leave town, but man, this team is primed, pumped, and ready to compete. Excited to see what Peyton extracts from the draft. Pumped up in Oklahoma, as well you should be. I'm not too sad to see Shelby go, to be honest with you. Sometimes guys get paid and, continue, whatever play got him paid continues, and those are the all-time greats. Maybe not the all-time, but those are your perennial Pro Bowlers, and Shelby was a guy that got paid and kind of disappeared. I mean, I can't really think of him making a play. And what's weird about that, Zach, is he was – love you, Albert. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming on. Shelby Harris has had that clutch gene, He's had so many big flash plays for the Broncos. Then he gets that big paycheck and nothing, dude. Nothing. So, I don't know. Duke says, I'm with Zach. Give us the Chiefs the first game. Go Broncos. Yes, sir. Howie freaking Day in the freaking house. Great to see you, big dog. Rodney Garcia as well. Thank you for the stars, my friend. George Fox as well. We get to see now that we have a QB. I can't wait for training camp. Yes, indeed. Or spring training, he says. So the OTAs. Ron Dubb in Georgia. Hey, guys, I'm so hyped. Who do you think will be Wilson's favorite target? And who will have the most tutties and most yards in that Hackett, Outen, Wilson-led offense? Zach, rapid fire, though, because we're running out of time.
It's getting to be where I'm excited to get Ron's questions. They're always thought-provoking. I don't know. I have the feeling he's going to love TP and Cortland in the red zone, but he's going to unlock what Jerry Jeudy brings to the table, because you're going to have a coordinator and a head coach using him correctly, sending him down the field, letting him win with his route running and separation ability, and just taking the top off defenses. And you'll have other weapons, including Albert O, drawing coverage away from Jeudy. If he can get those drops short up, I think that's going to be Russ's guy.
We look forward to meeting you someday too, Trav. Can't wait, dude. It's going to be a gas. There are going to be some great opportunities for that, believe. Dale Fleming at 6:53 saying, Weber first. Would love to see Peyton bring Vaughn back, Melvin and Bobby Wagner at a reasonable contract, of course. Draft a tackle. Yeah, the tackle theme is what's really on my mind right now. But yeah, tackle and edge. Use those resources, tackle and edge, because the offense is locked and loaded, dude. I mean, it's ready to go. Dale says, Fleming, thank you, Dale, by the way. Welcome. He says, this is my first live chat and donation. I'm so looking forward to the coming season and how it plays out. Welcome to the Manger, buddy. Make sure you connect with us on Twitter. We like to keep in touch with our Super Chat superstars and keep the conversation going. So thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Simon says, I love it, dude. Simon says, I'd pass on Wagner in free agency. He's still solid, but age has taken away that explosiveness that made him great. Might not be worth the cap hit that he will command, Zach.
I mean, if he wants, it depends what his motives are. Does he want to get paid or does he want to win a ring? If he wants to win a ring, maybe take a few $1 million less. You've made a lot of money in your career. If I saw someone in the comments, it might have been CC, say that Russell and Bobby Wagner aren't talking, aren't friends. I don't know that dynamic, but as long as they're cool, I could see Russell recruiting players, including Bobby Wagner, come over. Hey man, let's have the dream team. Let's do what the Rams did. Let's go win a chip. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
For what it's worth, he produced 170 tackles last year.
Pretty good.
93 of which were solo. So
pretty good.
Not too shabby. Trav, love you, buddy. Let's see what else we got. John Clay eventing in the house. Russell Wilson. I must admit, the Willis Kool-Aid has gone sour. Talking about Malik Willis. So excited to see the new era of Broncos football. Just proves God is a Bronco fan for granting this miracle. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, John. Thank you for that very generous super chat. Dale then says, anyone else notice Elway in the front office? His successes were with guys named Peyton or Peyton. You're just changing the spelling, not the pronunciation, right?
I wanted to make this point. I'll make it fast. Everyone or some poo-poo Elway for his failures. And I'm with you, Chad. I'm not going to dance on his grave. He did a lot of good as Broncos GM. But those close to him in the front office, speaking of it, people like Adam Peters, Matt Russell, they were coveted guys around the NFL. So he built a strong inner circle. He had an eye for talent on the field, off the field. I wouldn't knock Elway. And again, that was a good point someone else made. He's the one that brought in George Payton. He's the one that brought in his successor and a guy who is going to lead the Broncos back to prominence.
Shadif Hinson, great to see you. Thank you, my friend. He says, are we loving this culture change? Back to relevance. Love. Yes, indeed, bro. Tarbox says, I'm not saying they'll be on the level of the back-to-back Super Bowl champs, but if we can get an athletic right tackle, it might be on. That's right. We'll see, dude. We'll see about right tackle. Judah Walker, Elway Payton starting off the same way. First draft pick, defensive star, then next year quarterback. Hey, good point, dude. That is a similar theme. Jarrett McAllister, hashtag prom night. Ha ha. Yeah, that's a good one, dude. That was a good one. I genuinely laughed at that. That was good. J-Rod, yo, dangerous. I'm lit. Epic trade. He wants Bobby now. We'll see, dude. We'll see. Plum Bob, we're coming for you, KC. That streak is ending. Yes, it is. This is the year I'm not even going to no trepidation when I say it. Like the Broncos might not sweep the Chiefs, but the streak ends this year. Marcus Lewis Hanna, across the pond. Oh boy, at long last, a real cue. Your fans here in the UK can at least bay at the moon with joy. Love and respect from over here. That's awesome, dude. Great to see you. Thank you, buddy. Very happy for everybody. I mean, seriously, this is so fun. Rodney says, what's crazy is yesterday was the 10-year mark that Peyton Manning visited the Denver Broncos facility and joined this great organization. It tells you right there that this team is ready to go to the postseason. Go Broncos. If you're a believer in, harbingers and omens and all that stuff, amen. Shadif with another one, Zach. George Payton is playing chess out here. He's not done dealing. I'm hoping he can work more magic in free agency and the 7 picks in the draft. We're about to be a problem for many. Well said.
Even if they don't make another move, they're going to be a problem. They're going to compete. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a double-digit win team. They're going to make some noise, not just sneak into the postseason and end that drought, but make some noise in the postseason. But Shadif, I'm right there with you. Peyton's not done. Maybe Vaughn, maybe Chandler Jones, maybe Bobby Wagner. He's going to make some moves on the open market. He's going to fortify the roster. I have an inkling he's going to do something really surprisingly good in the draft. What that may be, I do not know, but he's going to leave the Broncos in just excellent shape going into the fall.
All right, guys, one or two more, and then we got to go. From John Juno, ordered my 94 Wilson jersey. Which jersey is your fave? I don't know what that means, 94 Wilson jersey. Do you know what that means? Syntax interpreter. You're my C3PO, dude.
I'm stumped. I thought 94, like the year 1994 with Wilson, but that can't be it. I don't know.
Bro, I don't know what you mean, but John, just know we love you, big dog. You the man. Appreciate you. I think, we got Curtis James with the super sticker. Very kind. Thank you, Curtis. Wait a minute. What up, Curtis? Good to see you, big dog. I know Curtis. Well, I kind of know Curtis. Ran into Curtis. He's a good dude. Travis, and a big-time Bronco fan. Travis Tarbuck's great show, Priest. I know the chat's hopping tonight and just enjoy the content in the community. Yes, nights like this, guys, when it's the tentpole moments, we can't spend as much time on every individual super or star, but you know we love you and appreciate you, including you, Jacob, including you, big dog. Phil McLaughlin. We'll do all the shout-outs here at the end of the show, but JT is back from across the pond, dude. I was actually just talking about JT not too long ago. But first, Phil says, I think Zach's more excited about Russ than getting lucky on prom night. LOL. I think last time I was this excited was when Peyton took the field, Peyton Manning. I also think Vaughn knew before all of us this was happening. Could be. It really seems that way in hindsight, to be honest with you. Zach at JT, able to catch the back end of tonight's pod, what will be a historic pod to show some love. We'll listen after the fact, and man, I am happy. I'd break the show if I was on with you guys tonight. We need to get you back on, JT. DM me a Wednesday. I know it's hard for you because you are across the pond and you got your little ones and all that, but let me know, dude. Love you, bro. Brandon Reagan in the house again. Love you, dude. Good to see you as well, Brandon. Been a minute. He says, when will we see a press conference with Wilson? When the new league year, once the new league year starts, the trade will officially be consummated. What's the date on that, Zach?
16.
Yeah, so it's next week. All right.
A week from
next
tonight.
week is your answer, buddy. I don't know exactly what day yet. The Broncos haven't told us, but we'll get the press release from them, and once we do, we'll let you guys know. Thank you, Trav. Big T. T twice. Hey, look, we even got KB in the house. Where'd it go? I just scrolled past KB. There he is, dude. Kenneth Booker. Just a heads up, Russell Wilson, Josh McDaniels is posing as a TMZ cameraman. LOL. Love it, dude. Okay. Zach, if you want to do the rundown, we got to go. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy these moments, dude. It's only going to get better, Broncos fans, because then the production's going to come on the grass. So it's going to be great. But enjoy this.
Okay. I don't know what just happened there, but that was the Huddle Up podcast. Thank you all for tuning in with us. We try to get everything on a landmark day. And I truly think, Chad, March 8th will go down in Broncos history in an amazing way as one of the best dates to ever exist. But follow us on Twitter until we see you guys next time, which is tomorrow evening, same time, same place. Follow us at Huddle Up Pod. You can follow the main account for all your Russell Wilson news and updates, your Broncos notes and transactions analysis at Mile High Huddle. You can follow my partner in crime, Chad, at Chad and Jensen. You can follow myself at Kelberman NFL. Follow Scott on Twitter at Scout Kennedy. If you want a hat like Chad's wearing, go to huddleuppod.com and get yourself one right now. Get yourself a beanie, get yourself a tank top for spring and summer. All right there, our merch store, huddleuppod.com and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. Like that page, follow that page. Guys, if you haven't, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some swag each and every single month. But if you can't do those things, you know the drill. Please do these 3 things. Really helps out the channel. Subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. Helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
By the way, shout out to the Facebook user. That's all it says. You got to give Facebook permission, or pardon me, you got to give StreamYard permission for us to show your handle, Facebook user, who says, so good to be back to see you run through the best signing since Peyton Manning, Melbourne, Australia, state of being represent indeed. I don't know what your handle is. I'm seeing it through StreamYard, so you got to give StreamYard A-OK on Facebook to show your handle. But shout out to these great supporters on Facebook. Tim Hoffman with a baller night. Thank you, dude. He finishes on top. Jacob Foster right behind him. Travis Weber, Shane Daniels, David Wilder, Colby C. Collier, Andrew Baker, Travis Tarbox. The gang's all here. Phil McLaughlin, Miguel Santisteban, Jeremy Kusich, Eric Weber, Rodney Garcia, Clayton Baumgartner, George Fox, Jose Lopez, Brad Murdoch, Marcus Lewis Henna, Howie Frickin' Day, and then our Super Chat superstars just going off tonight. Clado, Steve, Silent One, Brainstorm, Christian, Michaela, Smith Corona, Straightforward, 727 Mills, Simon, Jason, I Am Supreme, Jess, Mr. Stew Meat, Nash the Fifth, Joshua Shadow, G Hill, Ed Keating, Chris Hernandez, Tommy Simmers, Nathan, the Duchess, let's see, JJ, Adon Moreno, Bobby Digital, Duke Rose, Ron Dubb, Dale Fleming, John Clay, Shadif, Judah, Jarrett, J-Rod, Plum Bob, John Juno, Jeremy the Black Knight, Curtis, JT, Brandon Reagan. Much love and respect, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll keep that convo going. Keep it with milehighhuddle.com for all your updates. We're going to be covering every angle of this, so keep that bookmark, baby.
Take care, and as always, guys, go Broncos.